Right, right. Our next election, presidential, I think a lot of people on the right, our allegiance to Israel's, everybody's eyes are open now. Do you think the next candidate for the Republican Party for president, if they have this strong allegiance to Israel, it will cause them not to vote or not to support the Republican Party?
That's a really good question, bro, because the problem with the GOP is that on this side, we're owned by the Jews. Right, we got to have a very honest discussion about this.
Oh, definitely.
The Republicans are owned by the fucking Jewish lobby. It's really bad, and I would argue that's actually the last bastion where they have support.
Exactly.
Right, and they feel it, and that's why they had this fucking coalition meeting, and we're not working with the Heritage Foundation anymore. Tucker needs to be banned. All these guys need to be censored. Blah blah blah. Ben Shapiro dropped the fucking 40-minute video talking smack. You know what I mean? Like, bro, they're in full defense mode. These guys.
Yeah.
You know, full on fucking defense mode. So they see the walls closing in, and the last place of refuge for them is the Republican Party. So, you know, I think JD's probably going to run into 2028, maybe Marco Rubio. Rubio. You know, I think they're going to run, but, you know, I see maybe one or two more elections where this whole Israel's our greatest ally thing is going to be a campaigning thing. And actually, you know, Charlie passing away, tragically, he was a big supporter of Israel, and him, and you know, now that we're seeing all these people kind of get red pilled on Israel, like Charlie kept a lot of that away. Because if you guys notice, even more people are getting woke to this crap since he's passed away. So, you know, and look, I spoke with Charlie before. I disagree with him on Israel, but I think everything else he stood for was great. Right. The family unit, you know, being devout, being a good man, etc. This was really the only thing I disagree with him on. And obviously what happened to him was terrible. And it's funny too, because, or interesting, is the next day I was supposed to do a debate in Asheville, North Carolina. Ended up having to cancel it. So for me, it hit really close home because like there weren't many people that were going out and talking to these crazy fucks on college campuses. It was like me, him, Crowder just started doing it again. But at the time he passed, it was really just me and him that were doing it because it is very hostile and dangerous to do it.
But I was always leery about that. I said, man, when I look at it, I said, man, y'all crazy.
It's a pain in the ass
logistically.
Security
detail is a joke.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass logistically. So, not many people did it, you know. So rest in peace to him. But yeah, he was, you know, since he's passed away, more and more people have been getting red pilled on the Jews, and I mean that goes to show that he was a big supporter of them. And I think he was trying to deal with the problem before he passed. I remember he did a video with a bunch of young people from Turning Point. Hey, what's your issues with Israel? Let's have a discussion about this. You know, let me bring Dave Smith on to debate, you know, Josh Hammer, right? So he was like kind of trying to, okay, there's a big shift here. We need to change. The letter came out where he was telling Netanyahu, look, we got a PR problem here. So he was trying to stop this great mass awakening from happening, but he was tragically passed away.
I think it's very important. We need to point out that he didn't choose the Israel lobby over Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. I commend him for that because, you know, when you're getting that much money from them, right, him even platforming Tucker or allowing someone like a Dave Smith, people forget Dave Smith's a libertarian. He's not really a right-winger or a Democrat. He's a libertarian. So, like, having him on to debate Hammer on the stage at Turning Point USA, like, that pissed a lot of people off. So he got a lot of heat for that. And then obviously having Tucker on, yeah, they were pissed. Because, like, one thing I've noticed about these guys is, like, they don't want to have discussion. They just want you gone. Like, there's no debates. Like, why do we support Israel? Anti-Semite, get them out of here. Like, they'd rather just ban you than talk to you.
They can't, their positions on the whole Israel issue with the United States, they can't stand up to scrutiny.
I've said it before, it's an indefensible position. It's literally an indefensible position because, like,
especially when you're Christian.
Yeah. If you're arguing from the Christianity standpoint, it makes no sense.
And these are pro-lifers we're talking about.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. Yeah. No, you're right because it's like, hey, we shouldn't abort babies, but what about babies getting bombed in you know, in Gaza? A lot of them Christian too. So,
like, Tatum was like, he's pro-life. And he was at that same meeting, and he talked, and he said he wants to turn that place into a parking lot.
Yeah.
But he says he's pro-life.
And he denied,
Christian.
and when I said it's a genocide, he denied it.
It ain't no genocide.
Yeah, it ain't no genocide. You know, fuck around and find out. It's like, bro.
We got him right here.
Okay.
God has said, I know what the principles of God mean to people like me as a Christian. And we have to stand by those principles to the very end.
Why's he got a gold chain on?
Not like you guys are here are bold and courageous, but this is the time to be more bold than ever before. Anti-Semitism in America is out of control.
Wait a minute.
It's no longer a time where you can sit back and watch others perform and watch others stand up for what's right. You have to get off of your butt, get on the line or wherever you need to get and stand up for what's real and what's true. And let me say this.
That fade clean though.
I will never capitulate.
That's a clean
I
fade.
will never give credence to foolish people who are anti-Semitic, who are racist, people who hate America. I will never support them.
Who are these
I
people?
don't care how long you've been podcasting.
Basically us.
I don't care how many
He's talking about Nick Fuentes, but I don't think he's racist. I think he's prejudiced.
Yeah, well, everybody's racist to a degree, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
let's be.
He's racist against people that don't agree with Israel.
Yeah, it's like, bro, everybody, this whole thing of like calling people racist or whatever, it's like so gay. Because it's like, bro,
Yeah.
everybody is inherently racist to a degree, bro. If we're walking down the street, we see 5 in Nike tracksuits.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
we're all crossing the street, bro. Like all of us. None of us gonna go there to,
Right,
right.
right.
Let me test it out because I believe in civil liberty. Fuck that.
Right.
Bro, we're crossing the street, bro. Fuck that, man.
Right,
You know,
right.
like, they get mad when people say like, "Oh, I don't want to live around black people." Bro, nobody wants to live around black people. Even me, us.
Right, right,
Like,
yeah,
yo,
right.
the black flight is real, man. Nobody wants to be around these guys, man.
Yeah.
Come on. It's like we just sit here and deny the truth. Like, oh, look at you, you hate yourself.
You know
I
what's-
mean, I just don't want to die.
You know what's crazy? Me and Kevin figured out when it was like 10, 11 years old because we kept having horrible experiences with black kids on the black side of town. I didn't even want to go to the black side.
Yeah.
I said, man, because a kid pulled a gun on us.
Yeah, I remember my
was
black
10.
friend.
I get more racism from blacks than anybody else.
Oh, most
Yeah.
definitely. I think black people are way more racist.
Way
than
more,
white.
bro. And like they'll sit there, right? Like I love it because like, you know, people like us, right? Because like we're on the right wing and you know, we're around the white people more. They're like, oh, look at these guys are c***s. The whites don't even like them. They hate them, blah, blah, blah. Bro,
Yeah.
you might get one retard on Twitter that calls us or whatever,
Right,
right?
right, that's an anomaly.
But that's an anomaly, bro.
Yeah.
It's like I get more love from white nationalists. They
Yeah.
rock with me more and show me more support and respect than these. They'll sit there and take one off. Look, see, he called you an anarchist. Oh, look, he said that you're a bookie over here. All right, bro, that's like 1 out of 1,000.
Yeah.
They take this one person that says some bullshit on Twitter and think this. See,
Right.
look, you guys cooning for these. They don't even like you.
Right.
You're fucking retarded, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't even care if they like me or not.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
I stand for what I think is right.
Yes.
That's why
Right.
I stand where I stand.
yeah, and then like, and I tell them too all the time, like, because I agree with you on that. Like, the facts are the facts. It doesn't matter if they like me or not. The truth is, nobody wants to live around.
Right.
The truth is, they commit a disproportionate amount of violent crime relative to the fucking population.
Yeah.
The truth is that they don't like taking criticism from other people, and they look at it like, unless you're an FBA, we don't want to hear from you. And even if you are an FBI, they're gonna still call you a fucking tether anyway. So blacks are very hard-headed and you know, and have a backwards culture where if you speak proper English, if you say ask instead of ax, or if you're fucking educated, or if most of your friends are Caucasian,
Yeah.
or whatever, they're gonna call you an Uncle Tom, a
Trying to be
whatever.
white.
Yeah, you're trying to be white. Like they always have these pejorative names for you when you're not a fucking nigger. Like it's wild. You don't behave like them. They're like, oh, wait, you don't like Kool-Aid? Yeah, get the fuck about it. Like, it's like, bro, I hate fried chicken. I hate it. I want grilled chicken. Oh, you white. Like, oh, excuse me for not wanting to be a fat piece of shit with acne on my face, Jamal.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, you know. But it's like,
Right, right.
so it's like it always pisses me off how it's like they just sit there and say, oh, you guys for the white, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you this, white niggas support. You niggas want everything for free,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
Like you, bro, you niggas.
I tell you what, man. Before I went into politics, we did comedy shows, and I thought the love was amazing.
Yeah.
But when I came out as Republican, we come out to a standing ovation.
Yeah.
We leave to a standing ovation, and then they buy all our merchandise after our show.
They support the hell out of us.
It feel like you on cloud 9 when you walk out on stage.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It puts chill. I'm just thinking about it. Puts chills all over my body.
Yeah, no, and look, it's people sit there and say, "Oh, you guys know whatever," but it's like, bro, you don't even want to live around this. So what are you talking about? So it's just always the thing is that we're okay with saying the truth, even though it hurts the group that we're representing, right?
Right.
So like, I'll give you another example. I'm Muslim, come from a Muslim household. I don't think it's appropriate to pray in fucking Times Square. I got so much slack for that. Oh, what are you talking about? They play the church bells. Well, this is a Christian country. No, it's not. You know, and then they go ahead and have a whole argument with there. And like for me, I look at it like,
Well, we're a majority Christian, but that doesn't mean we're a Christian country.
You don't think we are?
No, this is a Christian country.
I think this is a Christian country.
The majority of the country is Christian.
Yeah, but
which you could say is a Christian, but it's not necessarily because we don't even use it in our schools, our churches. In our schools, you can't pray the Ten Commandments. They banned it.
Yeah, no, of course, but But our ideals are based on the Bible, right? Like a lot of our ideals are based on the Bible, and I consider America a Christian country.
Yeah, it's a Christian country.
Because the majority of the people here are Christian.
And then when you're sworn in, they swear you in on the Bible. They don't swear you in on a fucking Torah or Quran, right? Like
not the Talmud,
or the Talmud, right? Like so right. To me, I look at it like obviously the framers were all Christian. Mm-hmm. And I look at this as a Christian country. So I look at it like when, as a Muslim, like you're here as a guest, man, and like praying out in public and disrupting people. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't know if that's like a good idea. Like, it's like, we already have all this propaganda that's anti-Muslim that the Jews push out. It's like, do you want to really exacerbate the problem and like confirm the stereotypes?
Totally.
Right.
Totally
so like,
agree.
that's my thing. Cause like I got in like a discussion with Sneeko about this, and they're like, "Oh well, this isn't a Christian country. We should be able to do what we want." Look, just because you could do whatever you want doesn't mean you should do whatever you want, right? Like if your friend invites you to the house and you kick off your fucking shoes and put them on the table and your socks are dirty and stink and shit like that, he might not tell you to get out right then and there, but he's gonna probably dislike you coming over or like think twice. So I look at it like, look, there's mosques everywhere. You can pray everywhere. Yeah. Why shut down a portion of Manhattan to a Times Square to pray with loudspeakers and shit?
You're doing too much.
It's doing too much, bro.
And it seems like you're trying to take over.
Right.
And that's how a lot of people interpret it.
That's the way people are going to spend it. That's the way people are going to spend it.
Precisely. Yeah. And when I say this to them, they get mad at me. And I tell them, look, idiots, I listen to both sides. I listen to what people are saying on this side, the American Christians, and I also listen to you guys. I'm bringing you guys to the middle. They think this about us. When you guys do this exacerbates the problem. Yeah. Right? It confirms the stereotypes. That's why, like, I'm sure you guys have seen, like, there's a lot of, like, people that are, like, anti-Islam all over Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
And what do they do?
Hate Muslims.
Yeah. And they, what do they do? They pull the clips of them praying out loud, praying in public. They're pulling the Dearborn clips.
All they're doing is praying.
Yeah. But they spin it in a certain way, right? With the adhan playing 5 times a day in Dearborn, etc.
But by definition, that's also anti-Semitic, right?
It is, because they're actually the real Semites.
Right.
Arabs are Semites, yeah.
How do you feel about Mamdani? They keep, I done seen this meme all over Facebook. They're using pictures of 9/11, said, wow, they forgot so fast. They're making that comparison, like calling him a terrorist. These are conservatives, these are Republicans doing this.
Yeah.
There's a deep hatred for Muslims in the conservative movement.
There is.
Because of 9/11 and all the propaganda around that event.
Yeah, like the war on terror was all, a lot of propaganda, anti-Muslim propaganda. And that's kind of why I'm so sensitive to it, where I tell them, like, guys, when we do this, we reaffirm these stereotypes. But with 9/11, it's funny because, the Israelis were involved in that too. So it's no one talks about that because it's been censored for so long. Some people are starting to finally wake up to it now. But I remember, dude, 2 years ago, if you talked about Larry Silverstein or the dancing Israelis or any of this stuff, they just write you off as a crazy conspiracy theorist and anti-Semite, and they wouldn't even let you talk. Right. But I think at this point now, Ryan Dawson made a really good documentary called Empire and Massey, where he redid the original. It's like 3 or 4 hours, but it goes into excruciating detail about the United States deep state, the Saudi Arabian intelligence, and Israeli intelligence, and how all of these different parties were kind of working together, whether known or unbeknown to them, to facilitate this attack. And to cover the Israeli angle real quick, the long story short is this. Israeli intelligence had foreknowledge that we were going to be attacked on that day, and Israeli operatives were caught on that day dancing and celebrating, and they all had plane tickets to leave the United States the next day, and they were all working for a moving company. This moving company was owned by a guy named Dominic Suter, who fled to Israel days after the FBI captured these dancing Israelis, and he had this moving company had been paid for by Israeli intelligence. So, and he was on the list, the target list, alongside Osama bin Laden for questioning. But he fled the country as soon as they raided the urban moving systems. And there were other moving companies all across the United States that were doing something similar. So in other words, these moving companies were acting as fronts for Israeli intelligence to collect info and data on the terrorists, because a lot of these addresses that these terrorists were staying at down in Hollywood, Florida, California, etc., they were being followed by Israeli intelligence. And then some of the hijackers, especially out of San Diego, they were funded by a Saudi intelligence officer. He paid for their rent. He welcomed them into the United States, and these guys came into the United States on their real fucking name, and they got their passports out of, I think it was either Jeddah or somewhere in Saudi Arabia, but they got it from a location that the CIA was approving these visas. And basically, the CIA knew who these guys were, knew what they're involved in, and when they came to the United States, they did not share the information with the FBI, who is supposed to do all domestic terrorism. And the reason why is because they were hoping to flip these guys, get someone in, and flip them and figure out what's going on. And the Israelis were also watching these guys using a moving company as a front. So when Mohammed Atta and all these guys, because most of the hijackers were down in Florida, these guys, these dancing Israelis that were caught, they also had addresses down in Florida, in Miami Beach, and not too far from where these guys were staying in Hollywood. So it's irrefutable. There's FBI reports that show all of this stuff. Obviously, a lot of them are redacted, but it's all out there. So if anyone ever says, oh, that's just an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, no, dude, there's literally irrefutable declassified proof, FBI 302s, everything, showing that these guys were in fact caught. They did have ties to intelligence. 2 of the guys came back as positive ties to Israeli intelligence of the dancing Israelis. There was a whole other set of Israelis that were out of Tennessee that got caught up in a ring of fake identification. And these Israelis that were caught in this ring, the separate case, one or two of them that were caught had a permit to go do work at the World Trade Center days before the attack.
That's crazy.
And they worked on the sprinkler system. So basically, when the planes hit and the fires were going on, the sprinklers didn't activate the way they were supposed to. That's why the fires spread so quickly. And these Israelis were caught days before 9/11 being in that building, and the Port Authority, who does all the maintenance, they didn't have a permit with them. So what the fuck were these Israelis doing at this building without permission from the Port Authority to be there doing sprinkler work? That doesn't make sense. Yeah. And these buildings were filled with asbestos. Like they were not making money. They were losing money on this. And then Larry Silverstein takes out a strange terrorism insurance policy.
Yeah. How much was that policy?
Oh man, it was like shit. Brett, can you look it up real quick? Oh, I think it was like billions. With the biggest insurance payout of all time.
That's one hell of a coincidence.
Yeah, it is. And he wasn't there that day. And he's also a friend of Netanyahu. That's interesting. Oh, he had a dermatology appointment. His wife forced him to go to a dermatology appointment that day. So it's
if we know about this, why is our government so complacent about this?
Well, I think before, in the early 2000s, all we had was mainstream media, right?
Right, that's true.
Yeah, so mainstream media, spun the whole, they hate us because we're freedoms, we got to go to war, blah, blah, blah. There was no alternative media. Like Alex Jones was just starting to get his show off and stuff like that. Pause. So there was really no other narrative. And then for even past that, once we did get YouTube and everything else like that, anything that had that talked about 9/11 and Israeli links would immediately get banned.
3.55 billion.
There you go.
That's crazy.
And
that's why it's so important for them in that TikTok deal.
Yeah, so I could talk about this real quick. So the person that ran YouTube for a very long time was a woman named Susan Wojcicki.
Yeah,
she passed away.
I met her. Yeah.
Oh, y'all met her?
Yeah, it was a YouTube event. Yeah.
So she, look, and I don't wish death upon anybody, but to be objective here and honest, she was a huge proponent of censoring people that talked about what she called Jewish conspiracy theories. So if you had posted anything about 9/11 during her tenure, before October 7th, it was pretty much going to get put on the ban train. So this was heavily suppressed information for a very long time. So now it's finally coming out, and people are waking up to it, but it's taken decades because the information has been censored for so long. And not only that, Google, owned by Sergey Brin, whatever, if you talk about dancing Israelis, they call it an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. So if they've done everything in their power to suppress this, now it's coming out, thankfully. But it's irrefutable that there were Israeli fingerprints all over fucking 9/11, whether it's another funny thing. So these guys were getting fake identification documents in Tennessee, right? Or somewhere in the Midwest, one of these states. And the DMV person that they were working with getting this stuff, she mysteriously dies in a fiery car accident. Interesting. And then when they investigated the thing, she was killed before the fire caught on fire. The car caught on fire. So you have the person giving them the fake documents dying mysteriously right before she's supposed to testify. A couple of these guys were in the World Trade Center days before the attack. There's a bunch of art students, trying to get into DEA buildings all across the place, right? Israeli spy art students. So all of this stuff was going on right around the same time. Interesting.
Yeah.